Well, welcome to October 1st. Who knew it was going to be so warm today? It's sunny and about 70 degrees. I knew we were going to have pretty nice weather here, and so I have something that I've been missing in my life, and that's my smoked meats. I've got a really nice smoker, and I just haven't used it in a number of years. And I recently bought a rack of ribs, and I decided I'm going to smoke these before they go in the freezer. So I have a pretty good sized rack of ribs here. It's about 13 pounds of pork spare ribs, and they are pretty thick. So if I can get it up on edge here, you can see, I think there might be 2 racks in there, which would be fine. Kind of looks like it. So we'll get that apart, and what I'm going to do is one of my favorite tricks, and that is I put a bag over my reciprocating saw, and then I can use that to cut right down the middle, and then that will give me some smaller lobes to work on the smoker and to go into this pot. Now the reason that I'm using a pot is because I believe that boiling your meats like chicken and ribs is important, because you're going to get a lot of the cooking done. Water's going to have a lot of surface contact with the meat. It'll cook quickly. It'll be nice and moist. You can add apples and applesauce and herbs. I'm going to do some rosemary and some sage in here, and then boil them up, and this ends up being about 60% of your total cooking. You want them to be nice and tender but not yet falling apart, and then that way they get cooked all the way, and it gives you that lovely barbecue, that the inside is super soft and the meat comes apart because it's cooked all the way through nicely, but it's moist, and on the outside you get a nice crispy bark on the outside. Essentially, this is how you do it. So, well, whatever you want to put in your water. Now, one of my tricks, and this is an old Girl Scout trick, I'm gonna boil these on my smoker, and the reason I'm doing that because I have some wood I need to burn up, and I might as well just do that. So if I take this pot and put it on the flames, it's going to collect soot. But if I take some dish soap, liquid dish soap, and put around on all the sides of this pot and let that dry, and get the bottom of your handles, okay, all the way around, and let it dry. Then when the flames come up here and lick the sides of this, and the soot accumulates, when everything is done and this is cooled off and you're cleaning up, this will wash off super easy. Just don't get it wet. So after I get these all sized up, I will put my pot on the fire and let it boil. I'm going to add some rosemary and sage to it, as well as some apple slices for flavor. I always put some sea salt in there as well. So here's my smoker, and it's about ready to go back into winter storage. But I've got a nice bed of coals that I'm building up here, so that'll give me a long-term temperature. And then inside the smoke chamber, see, this will get closed off, and I'll have a limited amount of vent coming in. I've got some nice oak chips here, and then all the smaller stuff that I'm using is all fruit woods from the property. And inside my smoke chamber, I've got a pan of water here, and I can add herbs to this as well. This will provide a lot of humidity while the ribs are on these racks smoking, and I can of course control the temperature pretty well with that door there. I also have a temperature monitoring for that area, and this is kind of nice because it really helps you control your fire. But I'm kind of excited to have some smoked meats. You can tell I used to be pretty serious about using this, and I've just been so sick these last few years that I haven't, and I decided with this rack I'm going to do it. So here we are. So this is cooking down right now, and I will pretty soon, I'll put my grill over the top here, and then I'm just going to put that boil kettle on top. I can open this side door and feed wood in it, and then as those boil up and cook really nicely, then I will be able to put them in the smoke chamber side. Probably have to set them aside and do all of them at the same time in a big batch for the smoking part. But this wood's been out here so long, it's got some bugs in it, and I'm thinking it would be better to burn it up and build a nice bed of coals. This is a lot of plum and apple, and I can always refresh it with some more later. I have a big piece of this is a cement backer board right here as a heat shield so that I don't have any heat going towards the house. But I can put my hand back here, it's okay. This is totally deflecting the heat. And it's really convenient to go in and out of Eddie's little wire gate here while I'm doing this. But that's okay, it's so nice out. I want him to be outside. I did move my security camera out here so that I can watch the fire from inside. I don't have to get up and walk out here and look at it all the time. And I have a watering can here with some water and a hose right there that's ready to go. So if I have a problem, I can manage it. There's some water right there as well. There's water in that blue bin, but it's pretty stable now. Got a good base going, and so I gotta go chop those ribs up, and I'll come out and I'll throw a little bit of more wood on this, all that little stuff to burn up, and that'll develop a really deep bed layer of coals. And then when I close that down, it'll cook and smoke for a long time. Yummy. And I'll tell you, one of the secrets to good ribs is when you open this up, there's a membrane layer that covers the back of these ribs here, and you need to take a knife and grab a hold of that and just peel it off the whole bit, because that's the part that ends up being kind of tough when you are eating your ribs. And all the gourmet rib cookers peel that off. So if you like to char it into like a crispy, crunchy stuff that you enjoy that's chewy, then leave it on. I'm going to peel mine off. And you might ask, are you a dry rub or a barbecue sauce kind of girl, Deb? Well, my answer is why choose? My preference, of course, is Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Absolutely one of my favorites. Now I also have a rub that I've made, and it is really good. People who taste my rub always ask me, like, what'd you put in it, Deb? And I'm like, I don't remember, but it's really good. One of the secrets that I do use is I buy granules of maple syrup and granulated molasses. There's a good bit of that in there, and that gives you an awful lot of sweet. And in fact, one of my other secrets with bacon is when I buy bacon, I will of course cut it in half, and then I'll put small sections into Ziplocs, but I'll sprinkle some of this molasses over it before I freeze it. And then you end up with this really lovely sweet flavor no matter what kind of bacon you get. So some granulated molasses, buy a little bit, it lasts a long while. And it's one of the really sweet, good ingredients in a good rub is your granulated molasses. So there you go. Here's what I'm doing today on October 1st is I'm making some ribs for Deb. Once I get them all cooked up and finished, I will, of course, once they'll be cool, I will bag them up into single portions, which is going to be just a couple of ribs probably, and put them in the freezer. And I can munch on those for weeks and weeks and weeks for dinners. It'll be really simple to warm them up and cook them, and they'll have just that lovely like roadside barbecue stand or southern barbecue flavor to them because I smoked them myself. All right, guys, I love you. Dive Girl Deb signing out.